So despite the fact that pretty much every lawyer and law firm knows that social media are going to be an unbelievably important component in the success or otherwise of the firm's digital strategy, we have this interesting situation where, unfortunately, lawyers are terrified of using social media effectively. So that's what we're going to talk about today. My name is Chris Hargraves, and this is Digital Marketing Mastery for Lawyers. You can find more and other things at digitalmarketingforlawyers.com. And I think for some reason, we as a profession have decided that social media is really something to be feared rather than something to be utilized to build relationships with other people. Why do I think that? Firstly, I don't think that is true for everyone, but I do think it is true for a substantial number of people, and all you need to do to verify that is to have a look at a few social media policies. Now, these are inherently fear-based policies. These are a list of don't do's, don't do what Johnny don't does, or whatever that quote was, I think from The Simpsons. But it's a bit of a situation where we are terrified that what's going to happen is that Johnny in the mailroom is going to post something about our firm that isn't flattering or for some reason doesn't reflect what we're hoping our firm should be reflected as. And that's going to be caught up in some sort of viral social media insanity. And all of a sudden, our firm is going to collapse under the weight of Johnny's post and its virality as all of our clients flee, our revenue drops to zero, and then we have to shut the doors. This is the concern that we have. And while it is true that bad things could happen if social media is improperly used by you or your staff, it is not an inevitable consequence of social media, nor is the appropriate response to have a restrictive policy about how not to use social media, because all you're doing in your own mind and the mind of those people who work for you is throwing out reasons why they should not be doing any marketing using social media. By and large, the reason that this seems to be popular is because a lot of the people who are responsible for running law firms don't actually know how to use social media themselves. And so rather than go to the trouble of mastering the platforms, they clamp down on the platforms, with the consequence that the younger generation of lawyers up and coming in that firm never learn to use social media either. And so they similarly fear social media for what it might do to their practices. This is an unsustainable situation for your firm if you are in it, or your personal practice if you find yourself concerned about things like that. A fear-based approach to social media should be replaced entirely, including your policies or in your own mind, with an opportunity-based model for social media. That is, if we can learn how to use these platforms effectively, positively, and in a way which is beneficial for our practice, then we should do so, and then we should execute on that, which I've mentioned in an earlier episode. That is the better approach to social media. A fear-based approach does not achieve anything. All it does is build a massive brick wall between the efforts of your younger lawyers or yourself and any possibility of success. Flip it on its head and turn it into a positive opportunity. Yes, you want to avoid doing anything monumentally stupid, but most people, most of the time, don't do things that are monumentally stupid, especially if they have a tendency or are working in law firms, because they're pretty concerned about it in the first place. No one really wants to be that person who did something that ruined his or her firm. So ignore the fear for the moment and look at the opportunity. And this is what I want to encourage you to do now. Assess your own mindset about social media and your firm's mindset. What can you do to kill the fear you have of stepping wrong and embrace the opportunity and go, right, you know what? Rather than being terrified of walking down the street, I'm going to learn how to do it in a way that I can be confident that as I do so, I will be working towards a goal Maybe it's the goal of becoming known, liked, and trusted, as I've suggested in a previous episode. But whatever it might be, I encourage you to use that as your underlying philosophy of social media rather than a list of don't do's, because frankly, people just won't use social media at all if that is their philosophy. That is it for today. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hopefully you have. I'm probably going to stop mentioning it at some point because I don't like ending episodes with hit the subscribe button. I know I'm supposed to. There's a call to action rule that we'll probably discuss at some point, but it does get a little tedious. So perhaps you could just hit it even if I don't ask you to, or one of you could take up the gauntlet and comment on every single episode saying, hey, could you all hit the subscribe button because Chris said? That'd be really good. I would appreciate that if you could do that. That'd be excellent. But for now, I'm going to sign out. So head over to digitalmarketingforlawyers.com if you want to look at some more episodes or read some more stuff and reach out and say hi. Talk to you soon.